Welcome to Futures Talks. This episode is brought to you by Imagine, Institute of Futures Studies, and COMSTECH, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation Standing Committee on Scientific and Technological Cooperation for the Promotion and Cooperation of Science and Technology. We are honored today and pleased to present Dr. Sajjad Jafari, who is one of the leading scientists of our OIC member state. Dr. Jafari's long-standing research interests are in biomedical engineering, neuroscience, and applied mathematics. He has been teaching at Amir Kabir University of Technology at Tehran Polytechnic since 2013 in the biomedical engineering faculty. His research interests include artificial intelligence, optimization, pattern recognition, and especially nonlinear and chaotic signals and systems. Based on the final list of world-renowned researchers in the year 2019, Dr. Sajjad Jafari is among the most cited researchers in the world, according to Thomson Reuters, among top 1% most cited physicists. Professor Dr. Sajjad Jafari has won the COMSTECH Science Award of the year 2019 in the field of mathematics. He is highly certified research in the field of mathematics 2020 and 2019. Professor Dr. Sajjad Jafari has introduced a new cost function based on the point care section with application in parameter estimation of chaotic systems. Today, we are going to explore his journey, his lived experiences, and the achievements and his research projects, and how it is applied in fulfilling OIC action plans and its goals. We are happy and thank you very much, Professor Jafari, for joining us today.
I want to thank you for inviting me. Hello.
So, Professor, first, we would like to know about your childhood. Where did you go to school? How was your childhood like?
Well, my childhood passed in the duration that there was a war between Iran and Iraq, and we lived in western parts of Iran and near the border. So I raised with seeing many things that children shouldn't see them. However, Alhamdulillah, that time passed, and due to my father' job, I lived in many cities, mostly in Kermanshah province. So every 1 or 2 years, I moved away from one city to another city. I studied in many schools. Uh, when after 5th grade, there was one good school in the center of that province. Uh, they, as a child, I moved to there with an exam, and I forced to live in dormitory. So from very uh, childhood, I left my family till today. So I studied in a special school. It was for talented students, and when my high school finished, I uh, um, I uh, I was accepted in Amir University in biomedical engineering in the national exam, and it was a great success and honor for me because my family was not rich, and I didn't have access to many facilities and many high standard educations. such as some other people, for example, they're living in Tehran, capital of Iran. And Alhamdulillah, it went well.
And how did you get interested in science? How old were you when you started asking scientific questions?
Uh, when I was 3, I remember that my aunts they bought books as gift for me. Everybody else they bought toys or the things children like to eat, but my aunts they were interested in books and they bought me books, and I felt in love with book. So really it was from very beginning when I was 3 and 4. And before going to a school, I learned to read and write. And my in my whole life, my best friend has been books.
And who inspired you in science? Like, who is your favorite, most scientist?
Uh, I cannot mention someone specific. You know, in Iran we have had great scientists in history, scientists like Ibn Sina, Abu Rayhan, and Farabi and Khayyam. They have been the leaders of the world. In fact, Muslim scientists in past centuries, they have been the leaders of the science in the world. Looking at them is a source of inspiration. But in recent years, in my area of expertise, uh, I can mention some scientists like Professor Sprott, Professor Chen, Professor Kapitaniak, and Professor Perk. They have been the source of inspiration for my career.
And sir, your interest in neuroscience, and you're also interested in mathematics. How do you relate these two disciplines together?
Uh, Indeed, computational neuroscience and mathematical neuroscience is a strong field. You know, every law in the nature, everything which happens, it is not random. It follows some determined laws, and those laws can be explained by physics and mathematics. So it is not surprising that you can find mathematic rules behind every phenomena you can see in nature, and that is the case for biology. And for example, you know, neurons. Uh, some uh, some people who study in medical science, they see neuron as a biological system. We see neuron as a set of equations, and we can describe it by mathematic rules. So I think it is not something surprising. In every other phenomena in nature, that is the case.
One question I always ask the scientists, and I'd love to hear from them, that how important is imagination in your scientific researches and your endeavors?
Uh, in my area of expertise, you know, my focus is on chaos and nonlinear dynamics, and chaos and nonlinear dynamics is a relatively young field of study in comparison with many other fields. You know, it is only 60 years passed from discovery of chaos. So in such a young field, the dark space is much wider than the spaces with light. The discovered things are much less than not discovered things. And when you work in such field, certainly the role of imagination is go higher and higher, because uh, there are many things to discover, and you easily can merge things in your mind and try to build new ideas, and then try to work on those ideas by mathematics and computers, and see if that idea is useful or not. So in my field of study, the role of imagination is very, very high.
Professor Sajjad, you are author of 259 scientific papers and author of the book Advances and Application in Chaotic Systems. Professor, you have had a long scientific journey, and we were wondering what kind of challenges you have faced in your research projects and researches, and how have you overcome them?
Well, I have been one of the luckiest scientists in my university and my country, because many scientists need expensive tools, expensive materials for their research, especially with the current situation in Iran. We are under the most unfair sanctions in the history. And the main reason of such sanction is that we are a country, we are a Muslim country. First, we are a Muslim country. I think that is the main reason. And we are a Muslim country that want to be on our feet. We don't want to be dependent on advanced countries, Western countries. So we are under sanctions. So we don't with many tools and many materials. It is super difficult for our researchers to provide them. For me, since we only need a computer and internet, we are lucky and we can continue our research. Of course, if we have had faster computers, more powerful systems, and better access to sources of science like the publishers and papers, it was better. But we still can continue our research. If I had enough tools and enough money, maybe my team could focus on doing experimental research and experimental validations of the theories that we establish. So, if I want to mention a challenge, I think it is a minor challenge in comparison with my other colleagues and my other friends. But if we had enough tools and enough support and funds, I think because one of my dream is to experimentally show the importance of my field of study, chaos and nonlinear dynamics in biology. Unfortunately, we cannot provide good setups and good experiments for that because the lack of facilities and the lack of funds. You asked how I overcome. My university is the second best university in Iran, is second best engineering university in Iran, and I am super lucky that I have some most talented and best students ever. That is my fortune. That is uh, something invaluable that cannot its value cannot be described. Uh, those best students have helped me a lot, and without them, certainly I couldn't have such success. Only not even a teeny part of it.
And you talked about the equipments, and you could have a better lab and better equipment. So this is the lack of facilities and the lack of resources, labs, are something which is common among all the OIC member scientists. And
Yes.
what is your solution for it?
I think the solution is that we, all the Islamic countries, I think they should have plans for be much more united with themselves. And they should try to be independent from the countries that they don't care about us at all. You know, if we try to be on our own, and if we try to improve our science, that's I think they cannot bear that. Those advanced countries, Western countries, they don't like it because it means that we will be independent from them, and uh, mm, we can keep our resources for our future generations instead of giving them with low price to them. For example, our oil or mineral materials and etc. So the solution is that I think Islamic countries should be more united. They should understand. I mean, even my country. I don't speak about only other countries. All Islamic countries, including my country. I think they should find solutions to solve the differences between them. They should be in peace with each other. If our money don't go for example, military materials, military tools, and we can use it in science. I think after a while we can be independent from other people. So in such a situation, I think the problem will be solved. So something like sanction doesn't affect any Islamic country anymore.
Professor, you have research on artificial intelligence, and there are two questions that I want to ask related to it. The first one is that there is a fear that artificial intelligence, deep learning, and smart machines will one day take over human civilization. How justified is this fear? This is one question that I would like you to address, and then I'll come to the next one.
Okay. Indeed, artificial intelligence is not my main area of expertise. I am familiar with it. I have done some research and works in artificial intelligence, but I am not super expert. Maybe much more experts can answer such questions better. But I have that fear too. Maybe that seems funny for scientists, but I have that fear too, and I don't know what happened. But what I know is that the advancement of artificial intelligence cannot be stopped. So I think though I should only wait and see what happens. I think it cannot be stopped.
Why are you afraid, being a scientist yourself and working in neuroscience? and knowing that artificial intelligence is at best a system which human beings are creating, all the algorithms are created by human beings. Don't you think finally it is the human decision whether to use these intelligences the way they would like to?
Indeed, what I fear most is the people with artificial intelligence power. I think I don't think someday artificial intelligence can replace humans, and they, for example, like in science fiction movies, they start a war against us. I don't fear from that part. I fear from the people with artificial intelligence power, and I think in wrong hands, that is something frightening. And I have reasons for my fear because, for example, the power in atoms, it is something very good for human. You can use it in a very, very good ways, but people have used it in bad ways, and it is funny that those people that have used it against humanity, they are the people that claim every right to talk about humanity. They condemn other countries uh, for human rights, and it is the funny thing. And I feel since they are advanced in science, and I think they might be the first countries that have powerful artificial intelligence. I fear because I don't know what they want to do with it, and I am almost sure that they keep the option of using it against humanity, like they always have done.
How do you think we can use neuroscience, which is interdisciplinary, which takes into account number of different disciplines like physiology, anatomy, molecular biology, and so on? How do we use neuroscience and mathematical modeling in order to create a sustainable humane world?
Uh, what I want to mention it is at least, you know, the minimum thing that working on neuroscience can provide for us is finding ways to cure people with disabilities and disorders. The current world in our age, many mental disorders exist that I think in past centuries it was much more less because our life now is full of stress, is full of bad news. Life is fast. People run and run and run, and it has bad effects on mind. So I think the least is we can find solutions, or at least we know better the mechanism behind mental disorders like bipolar disorders, like migraine, like epilepsy, the problems and disorders that are related to mind and brain. And I think computational neuroscience, which is a kind of my field, is a powerful tool, and I think it can helps people. This is the minimum, and this is my field. I work in biomedical engineering department, so that is the important part for me.
Professor Sajjad Jafari, OIC action plans include a wide variety of issues ranging from peace and security to combating climate change, overcoming sustainable development challenges, alleviating poverty, and overcoming diseases and health problems. Would you please explain uh, how is your project and researches are contributing in fulfilling these OIC action plans?
Yes. Uh, one of my lines of research is a topic called uh, critical slowing down and early warning signals. It is completely related to nonlinear dynamics, and the topic is about how, based on some indexes and some measurements, we can predict if something is going to happen in future in a system, especially some problems is going to happen. We call it bifurcations, and if a bifurcation is not desirable, so it can be dangerous. For example, how we by observing the heart signals and heart indexes, we predict if that heart is near stroke, and that person may have an attack in future. Uh, so this line of research, and it is about not biology. Some many people work in this area in nature. For example, they investigate ecosystems, lakes, seas, oceans, with that look. And I want to focus more and more because that is a topic that we recently started working on it about 2 or 3 years. So I want to focus more and more with the help of my team in that direction, because that is very, very helpful in everything related to health and everything related to ecology. So I think my field of study can have some solutions for some parts of the what you mentioned. Or another example I can mention is, modeling epidemics. We are all under the most strange and biggest challenge, I think, in human race, which is COVID-19. So many scientists in mathematics and nonlinear dynamics, they try to propose models for such epidemics, and try to find solutions to control such epidemics. Maybe we are not as important as doctors in this war, but there is still a room for us to participate in this fight. So I think my field of study has something to say in your goals.
So, in order to take your research to the next level, uh, have you tried to contact other people, other scientists in your field in OIC member states to add on to your research and to collaborate with them?
I have a wide international collaboration. I have many international collaborators, and many of them are from Islamic countries. I have some great friends from Pakistan. For example, I am friend with Professor Hayat. He has won this award, the COMSTECH Mathematical Awards, many years ago. And Dr. Iqtidar Hussain, he works in Qatar. They are from Pakistan. I have many collaborators in Iraq, in Qatar, in Pakistan, and in Saudi Arabia, and in I think maybe in UAE. That is what I am very sorry about. That is the conflicts between Islamic countries, and why some countries like Pakistan, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Turkey. Uh, these are great countries. These are big countries with high population. They can be much more stronger than what they are now. I think if they be in peace with each other, and if they be much more united. But certainly many countries cannot see that, so they try their best to stop such collaboration, such friendship, and unfortunately, they have had uh, success in that.
So how do you suggest enhancing collaboration and cooperation among scientists of OIC member states? What we can do as government, as scientists themselves, as businesses?
Some part of that is political, and I'm not expert in politics. And unfortunately, when anything relates to politics, it everything gets much more complicated. So maybe I cannot talk about that part, but the world is uh, much smaller than uh, past decades. Now we have internet. Uh, I have collaboration with many friends that I have not seen them once. Even I haven't heard their voices, only by emails and chats. So when we have such tools, I think if we really want, we can establish many collaborations independent from countries and politics. So at first, I think every scientist should try himself or herself, and I think we can have such collaborations. For countries, I don't, I really don't know why they don't try to look around each other. For example, all countries. For example, I have a friend in Shahid University in Iran. He has gotten his PhD from Pakistan. And some months ago, he talked to me, and he told me how advanced is Pakistan in medical science. So, but if you ask people, they say we should find our solution in West, in Europe, in USA, while we can find many of solutions in our neighborhood, in our friend countries. So about the countries and organizations, I have no experience and I don't know what to say. But we as scientists, we can start collaboration regardless of how organizations and how politicians think.
So what do you think about the statement that science is socially produced? Like the kind of research project that you want to work on, unless you have the budget for it, you will not be able to deliver it. And in that way, it is the government money which is funding the research, or the businesses which are funding the research. So do you agree that science is socially produced?
Uh, I think you answered that question yourself. A part of it, yes, and a part of it, no. Indeed, without foundation, without support, everything's become much more harder, and some parts become impossible. So, for example, without enough facilities, many scientists in many fields cannot even do a little work. So it depends. It depends on the work you want to do. Certainly, there are ways to do research without those foundation and without those supports, but not in every field, not in every area. I think every in the end, governments and companies should support scientists.
Okay, right now, we are all living through COVID-19 pandemic, and do you see this pandemic increasing cooperation and collaboration among OIC member states, or do you see it raising conflicts? Where do you see it leading us to?
Uh, I think COVID changed many things. For example, before COVID, uh, teaching via internet at home, it was like a taboo in Iran. If you talked about it, everybody said, "No, no, that is impossible. It cannot be done." But when we forced to do it, we discovered that it has some merits too. It has some benefits too. So yes, certainly teaching in the class has its own benefits, but we saw that it is possible. So when it is possible, I think many borders are meaningless now. So, for example, someone from Pakistan can teach a class in Iran easily. Uh, Unfortunately, COVID caused many problems. We lost many people, and I was infected too. And for 1 month, I was in bed. It was super difficult. But I think if we look positive, it it has had lots of benefits too, for changing our lifestyle, for thinking more, and for seeing the opportunities that internet gives us. And one of those opportunities is we can easily have meetings, we can easily have classes and courses in other countries. We can have joint research more. We can have joint classes, joint teachings. So I see it more positive. It has had a very bad effect on economy, unfortunately. But I think, at least for my team and for my line of research, I see more positive.
One question I wanted to ask you about translations, because this is one problem we face when we try to use or access the best literature, the best scientific researches. That is to know a language in which it is available. Iran is very popular, very famous in translating most of the new researches in Farsi, but some other countries of OIC member states are not doing it as well as they should. So my question is, if we want to overcome this barrier of language, how soon should we expect to have an application, translation application, that translates one language into another language seamlessly? What are the trends in it?
I think we are very near to have such applications. It grows super fast, and currently we have such applications. Currently, there are many apps on phones that can translate for you, but they are mainly between more popular languages. I think it will happen in a few years. We are very near to that. But on the other hand, I think in all countries, I think we should put more emphasis on learning languages, not translating, and learning important languages. And that learning languages can include, for example, English as the main scientific language in current world. And I think at least partially we can focus on learning uh, Islamic world languages. So in some centuries ago, maybe 1,000 years ago, people from around the world, they came to Islamic countries, they came to Islamic world to learn, and they try to learn Arabic, Farsi, and other languages in Islamic world to learn. So I think we can pay much more attention to learning our neighbor countries' languages, including uh, Farsi, Arabic, Pashto, Turkish. I think if we want to go to the direction of independence from Western countries, I think we should learn those languages too. Not all people, but at least enough people. And I think we should try to learn English too. I am sorry for myself that in this age, my English is not perfect. It is only, I can only talk a little. But I think it should be much more better. And I think it is, translators will come, they will come soon, but I think it cannot, learning languages cannot be replaced by translators.
Professor Sajjad, would you please tell us the emerging trends in your own field of neuroscience, biomedical engineering, and mathematics?
In biomedical engineering, if one thing showed uh, the importance of any science in the world, one important index is circulation of money in that field. For example, military science is important because lots of money goes there. Oil science is important because lots of money goes there. I think in current situation in the world, the most important science is anything related to health. And if you see the directions, uh, no, in these days, health is under control of doctors. But I think with the advancement of artificial intelligence, with the advancement of computers and internet, it is slowly shifting to biomedical engineering. So you can access to diagnosis and cures at home by internet. For example, you can you can put your a picture of your lungs, for example. You can upload it in internet, and some artificial intelligence tools diagnose any problem that you may have. It is going to happen certainly, and so I think anybody who works, any country who invest in that science, I think in the future that country can be an advanced country and powerful country. In biomedical engineering, we have many fields: imaging, image processing, signal processing, modeling. There are many areas that people can work. My area is a kind of modeling. I think it has its own importance too, because when you can have a good model, you can have a good prediction, you can have a good diagnosis, you can have a better cure uh, without testing many things on real human people. You can test them on your models and then find the best solutions and then test them on people.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sajjad Jafari. We really appreciate you for taking your time out and talking to us. It was a brilliant conversation. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We will be back again with our next episode where we present another illustrious scientist from an OIC member state. Uh, be well and keep watching. Thank you.